everybody. Welcome back. Welcome to episode 4.
And our 5th take on the intro after we've deleted so many more.
We have. I kept trying to not say embarrassing things, and then I kept saying more embarrassing things.
Right, they just kept coming out, and I had to remind her that our parents listened to this.
And then I immediately was like, nope, and deleted that recording. If anybody wants to know what it was, though, hit us up. We'll tell you, but not you, Mom or Dad. No. No, parents don't do that. So, Clay, how's it going?
Oh, it's just really hoping this time the intro doesn't get deleted.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how I feel about it.
Okay.
I did want to say this. When I listened to our last episode, aside from it being precious, because I'm in Squishmallows, I was sniffling a lot, but I am also kind of fighting a cold because I have super allergies and I'm allergic to everything except Squishmallows. Also, show of hands, who went out and bought a Squishmallow after last week's episode?
Raise your hands. We can see them.
I can see them. I'm raising my hand.
No matter where you are.
No matter where you are. We are omnipotent. We are omnipresent.
Anyway, I didn't buy a Squishmallow.
Yes, you did. Clay bought me 3 Squishmallows.
I didn't.
One of my favorite Squishmallows is Austin, the avocado. Fun fact, Clay's first name is actually Austin.
Cool.
And avocados are one of my favorite things.
Can't believe you just put me on blast like that.
I love avocados and I love you. So, avocados, they're very, very popular, as you know. I know you don't like them, Clay.
It's my turn to do the episode. We're not doing about avocados.
Oh, yeah, no, we can talk about whatever you want after we talk about avocados.
Oh, okay. I guess you make the rules here.
Always. Clay gets it.
Tell us about avocados.
Oh my God. He puts an extra D in there. And
There's a D in there.
Okay, so this is where we had to stop recording earlier. I'll let your imagination run wild with that one. But it's avocado, not advocado.
Yeah. Well, they advocate
for avocados.
For better treatment.
Hashtag justice for avocados. So, Clay, as you know, avocado is a superfood. So a lot of people, including your beautiful wife.
A super gross food, yes.
Super delicious food.
It tastes like wet grass.
I like it. Why do you know what wet grass tastes like?
Mind your business.
So avocado, it's considered a superfood. It's like nutrient dense. A lot of people like it. So it means it's hella popular, which means it's in a lot of people's pantries, or where do normal people store food? Probably not on a bowl.
Yeah, people don't.
Okay, so we put our fruit on a bowl on top of the microwave, but I guess regular people store it elsewhere. I don't know. Where do you put your avocados? Tell us in the comments. The University of Illinois researchers are looking into the possibility of using avocado meal, which is the ground, dried up, defatted, leftover parts, the pulp, the seeds, the skin, all of that, in dog food as it's a very high fiber source. And it's allegedly palatable, so they like it.
Our age group gets so much bullshit about avocados. I think this is kind of the final straw, is now we're putting it in dog food.
Shut up, Clay. But I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but wait, aren't avocados bad for dogs?
I wasn't thinking that.
You were.
I wasn't.
You were.
That's one, I guess, the lesser known sort of poisonous foods for dogs.
Yeah. So the alleged toxic ingredient is persin. So there is actually an associate professor in the Department of Animal Sciences at University of Illinois. And her name, I'm going to mispronounce this badly, and I'm sorry. It's Kate de Godoy. And she's awesome. She's actually from Brazil. And she even mentioned that, where she's from, avocados grow everywhere. So, they fall on the ground, the dogs eat them. So, when she came to the States, she was like, why is everybody saying avocados are toxic? Dogs eat them. According to Ms. Godoy, when you look at the literature for avocado toxicity, all that exists are a few case studies. Dogs reported to have a fondness for avocado and showed some signs of toxicity, but the case reports couldn't prove avocados caused those symptoms. There are a lot of uncontrolled factors in those cases. So when she looked into it, couldn't find any direct evidence. A few studies detailed where persin was most concentrated in the avocado plants and fruits, and not a single explored whether or not they were found in avocado meal. So there is a potential for avocados to be in dog food.
Fantastic.
I thought that was interesting.
I guess good?
Yeah, I mean, people, I know a couple weeks ago, my beloved Panzer got into the garbage and got an avocado pit. And I had about 30 minutes where I was like, well, this is it. He's dying. So
He didn't eat the pit.
No, but he was chewing on it. I took it from him. But, I mean, hey, maybe it's not that bad.
Yeah. I mean, he's pretty stupid.
No, he's baby.
He's a little dumb.
Baby. So, Clay, this is your episode, and all week I've been trying to figure out what it is, and you won't tell me.
Yeah, you tried to trick me just here in the last 30 minutes twice now.
I did. I truly did.
You really thought I was going to slip up in the last couple of minutes?
I was doing my best. Never give up.
Well, I could tell you, but I don't think I will just yet.
Wow, I hate this.
Actually, I've got a little story.
Ooh, story time.
That will give the listeners an idea of what we're talking about.
Okay, everybody, grab your squishmallows and snuggle
and throw them
close.
in the garbage.
Don't throw your smushmallows away. Grab your squishmallows and snuggle together, and let's listen to a story.
Now, you know what these are, and about halfway through this, you're going to figure out what it is. So hold your answer until the end. Don't spoil it for everyone else.
Sorry, everybody.
I don't want you to go, ooh, I know, and then,
You couldn't just let me have it.
No, I wasn't going to let you. We're not going to redo this a 6th time.
We're never going to give it.
The night so dark and quiet gives way to the soft rippling near water's edge. From that still mirror of moon's light steps forth a tangle of weeds and dripping moss. An ebony horse, the color of the night sky and twice as beautiful, strides out of the lake and beckons you ride using neither words nor gesture. Enticed by the song it sings inside your mind, you mount the horse as it turns back towards the water from which it rose. It's not until the water rises to your chest that you realize something is wrong. The image of the once beautiful mare that approached you falls away to reveal red eyes and rotting flesh. You try to pull away, but your hands hold fast against its pallid, cold skin. Its neck, like a bog, sucking at your hands, pulling you into the beast. Now that your face is flat against its back in a forced and twisted embrace, you have a terrifying thought as the creature descends back into the depths. You are not sure what will happen first. Will you drown beneath the lake's surface, or suffocate in the flesh of this beast? Your screams are silenced by the murky water as the horse drags you to a briny grave. You should have listened to your parents. Do not tread the water's edge alone. Beware the siren song of the Kelpie.
It's a Kelpie! I love Kelpies!
Right, so there's a lot of stories like this about the Kelpie. So, real quick...
Oh, I'm jealous. I wanted to do the Kelpie.
I had so much trouble researching the Kelpie because it keeps coming up with a dog breed, the Australian Kelpie.
Yeah, there is a dog breed called an Australian Kelpie.
So you if you're going to Google it, you're going to have to type in water Kelpie, and that should give you the result you want.
Yeah, or Kelpie, they're technically, are they considered fairies?
There are water spirits. Yeah, gotcha. So a Kelpie is a mythological creature from Scottish folklore that appears as an often black horse. It's said to lure the unsuspecting to a watery grave where it devours their bodies and throws the entrails ashore.
Ooh, I never heard that last little bit.
Yeah, so it's a very old folklore. And there are a lot of problems with Kelpie folklore. They're easily confused with other things.
Stranger Things, even.
No, didn't do any Kelpies.
Yeah, no, they didn't. They need to get on that Stranger Things.
So Kelpies are able to shapeshift often into a beautiful woman or a handsome man, and have even been said to sing an enchanted song to lure victims closer. So you can see where these kind of get confused with things you've heard about before. I mean, literally like a siren,
right?
Like from Homer's Tale or anything like that. They have a lot to do with things that are very similar to water spirits is what they're considered, really. Spotting a Kelpie is difficult. In equine form, their hooves face backwards.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, and may have water weeds in their hair or mane. Some accounts claim that they keep their hooves in human form.
Okay, I know what you mean, but I just pictured a horse with human feet, and it was awful, and I hated it.
They keep their hooves in human form.
So like they're human with hooves, right?
Right.
Gotcha.
Think like a satyr or,
Oh, that's dope.
Goat man. So they don't really look that different from a regular black horse, I guess, unless you get up nice and close.
And I guess if they're standing kind of in the water, you wouldn't see their
their hooves and stuff like that. Some art depictions actually have them, instead of having back hooves, they'll have like a mermaid tail or something like that. There are more vivid descriptions where their manes are like sea serpents and stuff like that. So they're this, no, they're not, they're this.
Right.
But again,
but what they are is awesome.
It is awesome. So I keep talking about how they're similar to other things. Things like the Wewin of Central America, the Bakastin of Scandinavia, or the Nikur of Iceland. All of these are water horses that will trick you into drowning, essentially.
Right. No horse ever wants to be ridden.
Right. So that's your first clue. If a horse comes up to you and is like, hey, bro, hop on, you know that's a lie.
You know that's a lie. My dumb ass would be like, okay, let's go.
Doesn't even ask for anything.
Here I go dying again.
It's just like, yeah, just get on my back. No, I don't care that you don't have any carrots or oats. That's fine. I don't want anything. Just you on my back. Really like it. You're super heavy. I've got these spindly legs that look like they could break at any moment from my own weight. But sure, yeah, hop on.
Hop on.
So that's your only clue that a Kelpie has approached you, is that they...
Yeah, that's all you should know. Anyone who's even like passed by horses, they don't want you to ride them.
Right. Horses don't really want much to do with you, period. They're kind of like, you got treats.
Some do, but like all the horses I've met.
Right, all the horses I've met.
Even the cool ones that are like, hey, bro, they're like, whoa, don't ride me.
Yeah, don't steer me in a direction I don't want to go.
Right?
Kelpies can cause their skin to become like the muck of a lake floor, trapping those who ride them. They can also extend the length of their back to accommodate more riders.
That's awful.
Yeah, it's a little weird. And I love it because you hear these stories that's like a whole bunch of... It's usually like a bunch of kids, right? And then this Kelpie comes out of the water and they're all bewitched by it. And then it just kind of extends its back. Like the Slinky dog from Toy Story. And it's just like, oh, what's there, 10 of you? I don't give a hop on. And nobody is just like, oh man, we should probably not actually.
Yeah, I don't think they're supposed to do that.
Yeah, this is not a regular horse, obviously. This weird limousine horse. Right. He's like, yeah, sure, well, I'll get it.
This is my pull-out horse.
and then all the kids die.
And then all the
typically
kids die.
How the stories go.
Yeah.
Except they have this habit of leaving one kid alive.
Yes.
Usually the kid like touches the horse and his hand gets stuck and he has to like cut off his fingers or his hand or whatever is attached to escape the horse.
And they typically become obsessed with Kelpies.
Yeah.
And nobody believes them.
But I think it's kind of one of those things. This is like written into the folklore itself. You always hear about that, like, but no one ever lives to tell the tale. And it's like, well, then how do you know about it?
Right.
You know, this is kind of like,
did, yeah.
Right. But that one kid got away.
Right.
And it's like, that's how we know about it. Yeah, they put it right there in the story. Somebody can give them
old
bullshit about it.
Mr. Jenkins, old crazy Mr. Jenkins.
So, though water monsters that trick prey into drowning come from all over, why then are they water horses?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why horses? You know, mermaids like the German Nix and seals like the Irish Selkie make sense, but horses don't really have a lot to do with water.
Yeah, I mean, some horses like water, but yeah, I mean, that's not
right,
like their
you don't
natural
really associate
habitat.
Horses with water.
More like a field or something.
So it's believed the association with horses originates from the Scandinavian horse sacrifices.
Oh no!
Yeah, basically, like the water spirit taking the form of a horse was attributed to like moral standards, kind of like, you know, you're not supposed to do this. It's like, so they've taken that form almost as like a big FU, I guess.
Don't sacrifice horses. That's not cool.
So then the next point would be, why do all these areas have such similar stories and appearances then? You know, even if it is just from the Scandinavian horse sacrifices, why do you get this same sort of, you know, water horse comes from the water, tricks people into drowning?
And their skin is sticky. So like once you touch it,
that's a pretty common thing.
Yeah.
So,
remember that my little Selkie I made? I mean, that my little
my little Kelpie. Yeah. So Kelpies were sort of a scapegoat to rationalize a tragedy where a child may have died from a drowning incident.
Oh, sure.
Just an easier way to make sense of an unfeeling world. Kelpie stories were used to scare children from dangerous water bodies and attractive strangers.
Oh.
That's where the whole forming into a handsome man or woman comes from.
Have you been a Kelpie this whole time, babe?
So you don't want to bang a Kelpie.
You don't want to bang a Kelpie.
You really don't want to bang a Kelpie. There are stories of, like, Kelpies tricking people into, like, marriage and stuff like that. Like, I don't know what kind of, like, grift they have that causes them to go so far.
Wow.
They're just like, I'm going to get you in the long run.
They're in it for the end game.
Right. They're really good. They really want you to drown. Funny enough, which waters exactly that Kelpies inhabited was a topic of debate. Yeah, folklorists argued over what counted as a Kelpie and what was being mistaken for one. You know, how I talked about how they were so similar to so many things. Having so many different names or similar creatures, it was originally believed they inhabited streams and rivers exclusively.
Mm-hmm.
Later, it was believed to be any body of water, and particularly ones that racked up a death toll.
Lake Lanier.
Right. Something like Lake Lanier would have had a Kelpie story if it was around in those times.
Yeah, Lake Lanier just has like a whole lot of other horrible shit.
Right. Other water spirits, if you will.
Dibs on Lake Lanier.
I'll let you do Lake Lanier then.
Yes.
They're from Scottish folklore, so nearly every loch is tied or has a Kelpie story tied to it. Loch Ness, of course, has the most, with some stories dating back to the 6th century.
Right. Yeah, it's not a new thing.
No, extremely old. Kelpies were said to breed with regular horses on occasion.
Okay.
The offspring would be impossible to drown and recognized only by smaller than average ear length. Kind of like a weird, kind of
like
a weird
reverse
thing.
donkey?
Yeah, like a reverse donkey. Kind of a weird thing, but like it was popular enough. And
I mean, hey.
people talked about it, so it was kind of like you'd have like a snake oil salesman, I guess, trying to sell you a
half Kelpie.
Yeah, a half Kelpie. And he's like, oh yeah, no, this horse is great. It
can't drown.
It can't drown, which is apparently a real problem with horses these days.
Right.
I know I can hear everyone screaming, but Clay, how do we kill one?
You don't kill the Kelpie.
They often appear with a tack, usually a bridle. This apparently holds some sort of power over them, though it's not really clear. In human form, it'll appear as a necklace or something similar, and if removed, revert them to horse form. If you encounter a Kelpie that doesn't have a bridle, if you bless a halter and stamp it with the sign of the cross, it can trap the Kelpie. It can be forced into menial labor.
And they said I was crazy for carrying around this blessed halter everywhere
Right.
I go. They called me crazy.
There's also a story with a silver bullet, of course.
Always.
Of course, there's a silver bullet. But also one where a dude just stabs one with a couple of spears.
Okay.
So I guess literally anything works. Either way, if slain, they will revert back to natural components. Being water spirits, you know, they're formed from nature. So they'll revert back to like mud and water weeds and moss. And there's one story about jellyfish even.
So they'll just like squelch into a pile of ocean debris?
Right, yeah.
That's awful.
It's pretty messed up. But like I said, you know, they're water spirits. They're not
Right.
like an actual horse. That's why they can shape change and that kind of thing. They're meant to punish you for something, right? In this case, it would be not listening to your parents.
Yeah.
A lot of it seems to be attributed to like kids wandering off on, you know, the Sabbath.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you know, skipping out on church to go play by the lake. And it's like, oh, well,
Right.
Kelpie's going to get you. That sort of thing. But it was also, you know, to teach kids to beware of dangerous waters.
Right.
You know, that's kind of where the whole thing came from is, you know, a kid falls into a stream, gets swept away,
Dies, yeah.
drowns and dies. There were other things that were attributed to sort of the belief in Kelpies. Water spouts apparently were and maybe are a problem that happens on Scottish lochs where, you know, it disturbs the water surface in such a unique and strange way. You know, people have to come up with a weird creature to attribute that to, you know?
And that's a Kelpie's a lot more interesting than a force of nature. You know, like we want to believe that there's spirits and scary stuff.
Well, I don't know if you really want to believe that there are Kelpies.
Oh?
Well, I'm just saying it seems like really all they do is drown people
Yeah, but they're pretty.
that play in water or get horny. Yeah. So,
That's no good.
yeah. Because like I said, you know, it's not just about kids playing in lakes. It's also, you know, if you're skipping church to do anything, including hanging out with that attractive strange man you saw by the water.
Mm-hmm.
There was one story about it's normally like a handsome man, but in this case it was like a vagabond kind of man with like
Ooh.
unruly hair
That's a
who
good
was
word.
just
It was Simba.
Yeah. Who was just kind of like chatting with himself and like fumbling around with something. And somebody was just like, oh yeah, that's a Kelpie, and hit this dude on the back of the head. And he turned back into a Kelpie and jumped in the water.
Wow.
So I think that's really funny.
Wow. So that's like a big difference from beautiful horse, attractive man, beautiful woman,
homeless guy.
Homeless guy.
Yeah. I talked about the one where someone was tricked into like marriage. There was one where a woman knew it was a Kelpie, laid with the man.
Oh.
Biblically.
Dang.
And then while he was asleep, took off his silver necklace and he turned back into a horse. And she like made an agreement with him that she would turn him back into a man if he agreed to marry her. And apparently that just worked out.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I mean, hey, everybody's got to have somebody.
I guess anything's kind of on the table with Kelpies. It seems like really anything goes. They probably want to murder you, but I guess you could get married and have a happy life with a little bit of extortion.
Sure.
You know, of course, you need like a blessed halter stamped with the sign of Christ to trap one, but also you could just stab it to death.
I mean, if one thing doesn't work, you got to try the other.
Right.
You know?
That's pretty strange. There's a lot of water-related, whether they're spirits or monsters or whatever, from all over the globe. Ones that don't necessarily look like water horses, like you've got the Australian bunyip, which is a
bunyip scares me.
Terrifying creature to behold.
Mm-hmm.
Every picture looks vastly different than the other because the description is so vague. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, quadrupedal beast.
It leaves a lot to your imagination, and sometimes that's scarier.
Yeah, sometimes it is scarier. But, you know, they pretty much all sort of do the same thing. They lure someone to a watery grave. Some for other reasons. You know, some might want to feed. Apparently, Kelpies do the feeding. You know, I talked about the whole devouring the flesh and then throwing the entrails back on the shore, which I'm not sure what that's about. But then again,
that's nasty. That has poo-poo in it.
It has poo-poo in it. It's not really concise, I guess. But that's to be given on something this old. There have been so many stories about it. People have written, you know, books and short stories and that kind of thing on them, where they kind of embellished their own details. In that first little bit, that wasn't some other author that wrote that. I wrote the opening for that.
You did that?
So I took my own little favorite parts of...
Oh, you're so good.
My favorite parts of Kelpie lore. This is what he does.
He plays D&D and he is the GM and he's so good at it.
Right. I can sometimes describe things well. Like the siren song that they sing you was only mentioned in like one or two stories, but I liked that. To me, that made more sense to, you know, cover up for the other weird things about the horse.
Right.
You know, it's just like, actually, now that I get closer to this beautiful horse, I realize that it is basically a corpse. Its body is the length of a school bus.
A horse is a corpse, of course, of course, and no one can talk to you.
32 of us in this nature trail group. And this horse just stretched out to accommodate all 32 of us.
Wow.
And none of us thought it was weird until it was too late. So, you know, the siren song bit makes sense to me.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of that one.
Kelpies were born of the misdeeds of humans. Tortured spirits born from mistreatment and death. They are both a desperate attempt to find reason in a reasonless death, and a story to protect the unwary from a similar fate. Despite being separated by hemispheres and oceans, passed down in dozens of different languages, mankind has always known something to lurk beneath the water. Something to remain vigilant against that calls out for us to descend into the dark depths. Something that waits day and night for a child or a wanderer to stray too close, to allow their guard to lapse for even a moment. The word used may not wholly describe it. It may not appear as it does in the colorful depictions of ancient monsters painted by artists too numerous to dedicate name to memory. But it waits all the same, lonely and hungry and angry and patient.
Okay, that slapped ass.
Yeah, all of mine slap ass.
That slapped ass.
I will never not do. I will eventually phone one in, and it may not slap ass. In fact, my next one is not going to be super creepy. I don't want to become known as just the dude who does the creepy stuff on the podcast. So my next one will be nerdy, although it still is a little creepy, but it's more in like a sort of understanding the threat. The thing I am doing is what's going to be creepy about it. So
mushrooms?
No, No, that is one I could do, but I don't know if I have the mental faculties to do
Fun
one.
fact, Clay's terrified of mushrooms.
Yeah, I have acute mysophobia. It's not just mushrooms, it is fungus. But,
yeah, fungus in general.
But yeah, if you've ever heard of the video game The Last of Us, or what that game is based off, the cordyceps.
Cordyceps is messed up.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Maybe I'll do the cordyceps.
I'd prefer not.
Maybe. Well, how about we go for a swim, Clay?
Sure, I guess. Let's just hold hands.
Let's hold hands.
Aha. You thought you were the Kelpie, but it was me.
Fuck.
Yeah, see, I made you think you wanted to go in the water.
Yeah, he did.
Now it's too late.
Yep, I'm dead now.
Yeah,
well,
just like that.
I guess this is now obsessed with Clay.
The Kelpie.
The Kelpie.
The known Kelpie.
Yeah. Is confirmed. So before we go, we do have some more exciting news. So not only do we have those socks that slap ass, now we have ass slapping coffee cups.
Ass slapping coffee cups.
Ass slapping coffee cups.
And that's trademarked.
And that's trademarked. TM. Maybe you're awesome and you listen to the show and you would like to have either a coffee cup or some socks, or you want to wear your socks while you drink your favorite beverage out of your Obsessed with the Palmer's coffee cup. We can make that happen for you, Clay.
For me?
For you, you specifically. Listeners, let's help Clay get these items.
I don't even drink coffee.
He doesn't. And you know what? It's so strange. Sometimes I look at you and I'm like, why did I marry this Kelpie?
The socks are pretty cool, though.
The socks are dope. But for real, though, we would love for you to wear our merch. That would be so cool. So if you would like the chance to win some cool-ass, free-ass merch. So this is a coffee cup, and it's not just any coffee cup. It's a coffee cup that says Obsessed with the Palmers.
Right. It has our logo.
It has our logo on it, and it's also our Instagram picture because we haven't taken any professional photos yet, which is coming. Don't worry about it. So you can get that free-ass coffee mug. You can get the coolest socks ever, and you can wear your comfy-ass socks while you're drinking out of your coffee cup. And then when we announce your name on May 15th, you can send us in what you want the subject to be, and we will do an episode of your choosing.
Just a reminder, if you want to request a topic, you can always email us at our Gmail account, obsessedwiththepalmers@gmail, and we will consider it.
We'll consider it if you're good.
Right.
Did you brush your teeth today?
Of course, if you win the competition, you get to make us do one. So that's power you hold over us.
You hold that power. Now, this is within reason. Like, it can't be X-rated. As much as we would love that, it's got to be...
I think we got to let the people eat cake. Why did you have to turn that into something else?
You're the one who said eat cake. It's been a long day.
I don't know. I trust you people, whomst I've never met.
I too trust you, my children, and I love you. And I'm proud of you. Whatever you did this week, good for you.
Unless it wasn't good, in which case I'm sorry.
Thanks, everybody. We hope to see you next week when my episode slaps ass.
I bet.